Hello, and thank you for joining me here today. I will be covering the urban agriculture in Cincinnati, which is a green solution to food insecurity and urban heat islands. I'll be discussing a growing solution to two major environmental and social challenges in urban areas: food insecurity and the urban heat island effect. My focus will be on how urban agriculture, particularly through the work of the Civic Garden Center of Greater Cincinnati, is addressing these issues and in a sustainable and community-driven way. Just as a basic overview, in this presentation I'll cover 5 key points. 1, the context of the environmental problems. 2, why they matter to the public. 3, the solution being implemented to solve these problems. 4, the effectiveness of these things being implemented. And 5, the limitations and opportunities for improvement. Next, I will be covering the food problem for food insecurity. In Cincinnati, over 25% of residents live in what's called food deserts, neighborhoods that lacked access to affordable, fresh, and nutritious food. According to the USDA, these areas often have few or no grocery stores, and residents may not own cars or have reliable transportation in these areas. This often leads to poor dietary options, often limited to fast food or convenience stores. This problem is not just about hunger. It's about nutrition, long-term health outcomes, and equity. Residents in food insecure neighborhoods often face higher rates of obesity, diabetes, and other diet-related diseases. Next, I'll cover urban heat islands. The second related issue is the urban heat island effect. Cities such as Cincinnati have large areas of pavement, buildings, and other infrastructure that absorb and retain heat well. This often raises temperatures in urban neighborhoods, especially those with little tree cover in the area, by several degrees compared to surrounding rural areas. And according to the NOAA, this can result in higher energy costs, more air pollution, and increased health risks in the area, particularly for vulnerable populations like the elderly and low-income residents that we talked about earlier. Interestingly, research shows that urban heat islands and food deserts often overlap in areas, compounding the environmental injustice in these areas. Next, we will talk about the public impact. So why should the public care about these heat islands and the food? Because these issues affect more than just individuals. They affect entire communities. Food insecurity and excessive heat reduce quality of life, strain public health systems, and widen socioeconomic gaps. These issues are especially pronounced in historically marginalized communities. Furthermore, both problems are expected to worsen with climate change that's occurring, meaning solutions need to be not only immediate, but sustainable and scalable. Next, we'll talk about the urban agriculture. Urban agriculture refers to growing food within cities, in community gardens, vacant lots, rooftops, or even vertical farms if we don't have space for large horizontal farms. It brings fresh produce closer to where people live and helps transform underused land into productive green space for the people of Cincinnati and other big cities that fall under this issue. In Cincinnati, a major advocate for this movement is the Civic Garden Center of Greater Cincinnati. This garden center was founded in 1942. The center promotes gardening, sustainability, and environmental education. It manages over 70 community and school gardens across Greater Cincinnati and supports neighborhoods in starting their own food growing initiatives. So what does this look like in practice for us? One example is the Hub Garden located in Avondale, a historically under-resourced neighborhood of Cincinnati. The Civic Garden Center helped local residents turn a vacant lot that was being unused into a vibrant garden that produces tomatoes, kale, peppers, herbs, and many more different types of produce. These gardens not only provide food, but they also offer educational programs to the community. They also offer community events and a safe outdoor space for neighborhoods to gather. Next is the solution impact for food access. The food grown in these gardens directly supports local families. One community garden can yield hundreds of pounds of produce per season, and this is either distributed free to residents or sold at local farmers markets at affordable prices for these residents and neighborhoods. In some of these gardens, residents learn how to grow their own food, giving them long-term control over their diet and health. And as we might know, if you teach a man to fish, he'll have food for the rest of his life. It's a grassroots approach to food security, and this is literally and figuratively. Next is the heat reduction and the impact that it has. Urban agriculture also helps address the heat island effect. Green spaces like gardens absorb less heat than concrete and help cool surrounding areas rather than get them hot like the concrete would. They also improve the air quality, reduce stormwater runoff, and support pollinators and biodiversity. A 2020 study found that a single block converted into a green space within cities can reduce surrounding air temperatures by up to 2 to 4 degrees Fahrenheit, which is significant in the context of extreme heat events. Next, we'll talk about the community empowerment that this agriculture brings. One of the most powerful aspects of this solution is the focus on community empowerment. Unlike top-down initiatives, these gardens are built and maintained by local residents, which support the Civic Garden Center. This promotes a sense of ownership for these residents and encourages civic engagement and builds resilience among the communities and neighborhoods that this initiative was brought to. In neighborhoods historically excluded from environmental benefits, urban agriculture is a form of environmental justice for them. Next, we'll talk about the limitations of the solution that this agriculture poses. While 70 plus gardens is impressive, this is a small dent in a citywide problem. Many food deserts still lack access to fresh produce. While we are building these gardens, they still aren't going to be able to take care of the full issue. So we need to be able to focus on what the real issue is and build more gardens for the people, knocking out both the heat index as well as the food scarcity problem. Next is sustainability. Community gardens rely heavy on volunteers, and without consistent funding and labor, these gardens can fall into a state of disrepair, where we run out of people willing to take care of them. The next issue we run into is land access. While vacant lots can be repurposed at any time, long-term land security is not guaranteed. We don't always have access to these lots, and when we run out of lots to be able to repurpose or areas that are unused to be repurposed, we now have run out of areas to make new green space to prevent this problem from happening. Another issue we run into is policy support. Urban farming often lacks strong municipal support, which limits its expansion throughout the city. due to city governments wanting this area, wanting the land for different projects, or just don't have the money to fund it. Some of the future directions that we could go into to improve this solution for Cincinnati could be providing permanent land use rights to community garden groups, offering grants or tax breaks to urban farming initiatives, partnering with schools to create more educational gardens, encouraging corporation sponsorships to collaborate with local producers or grocers. And I believe these steps would increase the reach and resilience for Cincinnati. In closing, urban agriculture, while not a silver bullet, offers practical, community-based response to two urgent environmental issues: food insecurity and urban heat islands. Through the work of organizations like the Civic Garden Center of Greater Cincinnati, this solution is not only growing food, it's growing health, sustainability, and empowerment where it's needed the most. Thank you for your time, and I hope this presentation, this video, helped you to see how local action and green initiative can make for a real difference in our communities. If you have any questions or thoughts, just leave them in the comments and let me know. Thank you.